Have you ever wondered why, even though you're eating healthy, you still feel tired, foggy, or bloated after a piece of fruit? See, everyone tells you fruit is nature's candy. Eat as much as you want. But what they don't say, especially if you're over 50, is that some fruits can quietly sabotage your digestion, spike your blood sugar, even damage your brain. Yes, even those sweet little cherries can shrink memory performance if you're not careful. I've seen it happen to my patients, and I've been practicing medicine for nearly 38 years. So when I saw the latest research on how 8 specific fruits affect aging bodies, especially after 50, I knew I had to speak out. Now, don't get me wrong, I love fruit. But the truth is, it's not just about what you eat. It's about when, how much, and which kinds after 50. And number 5, I wish more people knew this years ago. It's tied directly to your brain's aging. So stay with me, because I'm going to walk you through the 8 most common fruits that can quietly harm your body after 50 and what to do instead. And no, you don't have to give them all up, but you do need to know how to eat them smarter. Because here's the thing, this is not about restriction, it's about freedom. Freedom from the fatigue, freedom from bloating, freedom from brain fog, so you can enjoy your golden years with clarity, energy, and peace of mind. Let's start with one you probably ate this morning. Bananas, and why they could be silently working against your heart, your metabolism, and your brain. Bananas, sweet, soft, easy to chew, one of the most trusted fruits for older adults. But let me ask you honestly, have you ever eaten a banana thinking it's a light snack, only to feel bloated, sluggish, or weirdly sleepy afterwards? You're not alone. In fact, over the last 20 years, I've had hundreds of older patients tell me they feel off after eating bananas. At first, I thought it was coincidence, but then I started digging deeper, and the science shocked even me. Bananas are high in fructose and resistant starch, and for many people over 50, your digestive enzymes slow down with age. That means instead of giving you quick energy, bananas can sit in your gut, ferment, and feed the wrong bacteria. This causes bloating, constipation, and even mood swings. Worse, bananas have a glycemic load that can spike your blood sugar fast, especially if eaten alone. And what does that mean for you? Brain fog, afternoon crashes, even heart palpitations in some people with prediabetes or blood pressure sensitivity. I had one patient, Ruth, 76 years old, who swore by her daily banana, but she kept gaining belly fat and couldn't understand why she felt exhausted by 11 a.m. When we tracked her meals, we discovered that one banana was throwing off her entire metabolism. So I gave her a simple rule. If you want to keep bananas in your diet, don't eat them alone. Pair half a banana with protein, like Greek yogurt or almond butter. Or wait until it's slightly green, not brown. Slightly unripe bananas have a lower sugar impact and more fiber-friendly resistant starch. 2 weeks later, Ruth said, "Dr. John, I feel like I finally woke up from a fog I didn't know I was in. Before, tired, bloated, gaining weight. After, clearer thinking, lighter digestion, better blood sugar, bridge, all from tweaking when and how she ate bananas. And I've seen this shift happen dozens of times. You don't have to give up fruit, just learn to eat it smart after 50. But here's the thing. If bananas surprised you, wait until you hear about number 5. A tropical fruit that's marketed as a fat-burning miracle, but in reality, it can inflame your joints and disrupt sleep. Even I didn't expect that, and I've been in practice for 38 years. Grapes. The brain's sneaky enemy? They're small, juicy, and easy to pop in your mouth. But what if I told you that just a handful of grapes a day might be making your memory worse? You might be thinking, but Dr. John, aren't grapes packed with antioxidants? You're right, they are, but context matters. And after 50, our body processes fruit sugar very differently than it did in our 20s or 30s. Grapes are extremely high in fructose, one of the most concentrated sources of natural sugar. Now that might sound innocent, but here's what's not talked about. Fructose doesn't get processed by your muscles like glucose. Instead, it heads straight to your liver, where excess sugar gets turned into fat and even triggers inflammation in the brain. And inflammation in the brain is no small thing. It's linked to memory decline, brain fog, mood swings, even increased risk of dementia. One of my longtime patients, Harold, age 68, was sharp as a tack. But he came to me worried about forgetfulness. When we reviewed his food journal, guess what showed up every afternoon? A giant bowl of grapes while watching the evening news. He looked at me and said, "Doc, they're fruit." I thought I was being good. And that's the trap. When eaten in excess, grapes flood the system with sugar, giving you a blood sugar spike, followed by a crash, one that your brain feels before your body does. So I told Harold, "You're not doing anything wrong. You just need to make a small shift." Here's what I advised. Limit grapes to no more than 10 to 12 at a time. Pair them with a handful of raw almonds or walnuts, or better yet, switch to low-sugar berries like blueberries or blackberries, which are brain protective. 2 weeks later, Harold returned. His exact words? "I can think clearer. I feel steadier. It's like someone cleaned the fog off my windshield." Before. Healthy fruit snack. Brain fog, forgetfulness, fatigue. After. Balanced brain fuel. Clarity, control, confidence. Bridge. One tiny change. Controlling your grape intake after 50. I've seen this too many times to ignore. Fruit isn't the enemy. Timing, portion, and age-appropriate choice. You'll never eat the same again. Now, if you think grapes are bad, wait until you see what happens when you eat a ripe mango after dinner. Spoiler, it could be the reason your belly fat won't budge, no matter how much you walk. 4. Mangoes, the tropical trap that's expanding your waistline. Now, I want you to think back. When was the last time you enjoyed a slice of mango? It's smooth, sweet, comforting, feels like a little vacation in your mouth, doesn't it? But let me ask you something. Have you also been struggling with stubborn belly fat, even though you're eating healthy and staying active? Because for many people over 50, mangoes could be silently sabotaging your metabolism. You see, mangoes are what I call a double sugar fruit. Not only are they packed with natural fructose, but their high glycemic index causes your blood sugar to spike fast, especially when they're fully ripe and juicy. And after 50, your insulin sensitivity naturally declines, meaning those sugar spikes become fat storage signals, especially around the midsection. One of my patients, Linda, she's 62, was doing everything right. Walking 30 minutes every day, cooking her own meals, cutting out soda, but she couldn't lose a single pound. Her biggest weakness? Just one mango in the evening, she said. "It helps me sleep." But in reality, that late-night mango was spiking her insulin, preventing fat burn during sleep, disrupting her melatonin rhythm, keeping her awake longer. She told me, "I had no idea that my favorite fruit was working against me." So I gave her this advice. You can still enjoy mangoes, but here's the golden rule. Eat them earlier in the day, never after dinner. Limit to 1/2 cup, and always with a protein or healthy fat. Or better yet, swap mango for papaya, which has less sugar and aids digestion. 2 weeks later, Linda called me. "Dr. John, I've lost 3 pounds without changing anything else. I feel lighter. Even my sleep is deeper." Food is supposed to heal, not harm. But after 50, we have to eat with more wisdom than we did in our youth. 5. Pineapple, the fat-burning fruit that may be damaging your joints. You've probably heard this before. Pineapple helps with weight loss. It's anti-inflammatory, great for digestion. But if you're over 50, pineapple may be doing the exact opposite of what you think. I'm not here to scare you, but I am here to tell you the real story behind pineapple, especially for older adults who are dealing with joint pain, gout flare-ups, acid reflux, or unexplained bloating after meals. And I say this not as a critic of fruit, but as a doctor with 38 years of experience, watching my patients suffer when no one could explain why. Pineapple is loaded with bromelain, an enzyme often praised for reducing inflammation. Sounds good, right? But here's the catch. Pineapple is also extremely acidic, and when you eat it in large amounts or on an empty stomach, it can irritate your stomach lining, spike uric acid levels, trigger inflammation in people already struggling with joint issues or arthritis. One of my patients, Raj, age 67, came to me with severe knee pain. He was healthy, fit, even meditated daily, but every few weeks his joints would flare up, hot, swollen, stiff. He couldn't figure it out. He said, "Dr. John, I've cut out red meat. I'm taking turmeric. Why is this still happening?" Then I asked about his snacks. He smiled and said, "Oh, every night I eat fresh pineapple. It helps with digestion." That's when the light bulb went off. Raj was unknowingly fueling his own inflammation. You see, pineapple contains natural sugars and acid compounds that can increase uric acid, a known trigger for gout and arthritis flares. Plus, eating pineapple late at night can throw off your digestive timing, making things worse as your body tries to rest. I had Raj stop eating pineapple for just 14 days. When he came back, he was almost glowing. No swelling, no pain. I slept through the night for the first time in months, he told me. And I feel lighter, like my body isn't fighting itself anymore. Here's the better approach. Spike uric acid levels. Trigger inflammation in people already struggling with joint issues or arthritis. One of my patients, Raj, age 67, came to me with severe knee pain. He was healthy, fit, even meditated daily, but every few weeks his joints would flare up, hot, swollen, stiff. He couldn't figure it out. He said, "Dr. John, I've cut out red meat. I'm taking turmeric. Why is this still happening?" Then I asked about his snacks. He smiled and said, "Oh, every night I eat fresh pineapple. It helps with digestion." That's when the light bulb went off. Raj was unknowingly fueling his own inflammation. You see, pineapple contains natural sugars and acid compounds that can increase uric acid, a known trigger for gout and arthritis flares. Plus, eating pineapple late at night can throw off your digestive timing, making things worse as your body tries to rest. I had Raj stop eating pineapple for just 14 days. When he came back, he was almost glowing. No swelling, no pain. I slept through the night for the first time in months, he told me. And I feel lighter, like my body isn't fighting itself anymore. Here's the better approach. If you love pineapple, eat small amounts, no more than 1/2 cup. Only eat it after a full meal, never on an empty stomach. And limit it to twice per week, not daily. Or replace it with low-acid fruits like kiwi or papaya for digestion. We all want to make the best choices for our bodies, but after 50 we need to stop guessing and start eating intentionally. And if pineapple surprised you, wait until you hear what cherries might be doing to your brain. Yes, cherries. That innocent-looking fruit is tied to early signs of cognitive decline. 6. Cherries. The brain-healthy fruit that might be harming your memory. If I asked you to name one fruit that helps the brain, you might say cherries, right? They're loaded with antioxidants. They fight inflammation. That's what everyone says. But what if I told you, eating cherries the wrong way, at the wrong time, or in the wrong amount, could actually contribute to memory problems, brain fog, and poor sleep? And I don't say this lightly. As someone who's worked with older adults for 38 years, I've seen how well-meaning choices can lead to confusing symptoms no one connects to their diet. There's a hidden connection between cherries, melatonin, and how your brain clears toxins during sleep. And if that balance is thrown off, you might be sabotaging your brain's nightly repair system without ever knowing it. Let me explain. Cherries, especially tart cherries, contain natural melatonin, the sleep hormone. But here's the catch. Many people over 50 already have melatonin imbalances. Add cherries at the wrong time, and you confuse your circadian rhythm. That leads to poor quality sleep, and poor sleep is directly linked to memory loss, cognitive fog, increased risk of Alzheimer's. And if that wasn't enough, cherries are also high in sugar, and that sugar, especially before bed, can spike insulin and block your brain's nighttime detox. I'll never forget Mary. She was 71, active, sharp, full of life. But over the last year, she said, "I just feel fuzzy, like I walk into a room and forget why I'm there." She'd been eating a bowl of cherries every night before bed, thinking it helped her sleep, but instead it was raising her blood sugar, disrupting her deep sleep cycles, and dulling her memory. She looked at me and said, "I thought I was doing the right thing." "You were," I told her, "but your body after 50 needs a different strategy. Here's what I recommended. If you want to eat cherries, do it in the morning or early afternoon. Limit to 1/2 cup and combine with a source of fat or fiber to reduce sugar spikes. Avoid them entirely 2-3 hours before bed and focus on natural melatonin through dark, sleep-promoting foods like almonds, kiwi, or chamomile." 2 weeks later, Mary came back glowing. She said, "My sleep is deeper, my mind feels sharp again, and I feel more like me." Our brain is one of the most sensitive organs we have. The right fruit at the wrong time can quietly work against you. But when you learn how your body works after 50, the results are life-changing. And speaking of sneaky sugars, wait until you hear what dried fruits like raisins and dates are doing inside your bloodstream. These little snacks may be aging your cells faster than you realize. Now here's a fruit group that really breaks my heart, because it's one so many of us think is healthy. Raisins, dates, prunes, dried apricots. They feel natural. They're even in those so-called heart-healthy trail mixes. But after age 50, your body reacts very differently to dried fruits. When you dry fruit, you concentrate the sugar dramatically. 1 cup of grapes, around 23 grams of sugar. 1 cup of raisins, over 85 grams, almost 4 times the sugar, in a fraction of the space. And because dried fruits are so small and easy to eat, you can consume a massive sugar load in just a handful. Now let's talk about what that sugar is doing inside your body. After 50, excess sugar doesn't just spike your blood glucose. It triggers something called glycation, where sugar binds to proteins in your body, forming AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These little monsters do 3 things: damage your skin, wrinkles, sagging, stiffen your arteries, age your brain and joints from the inside out. I had one patient, Clarence, 73, retired school principal. He loved dates, a natural candy, he called them, but he was struggling with sudden fatigue, aching knees, and a blood sugar reading that shocked him, 186 fasting. He had no idea it was his daily handful of raisins that were silently spiking his sugar all day long. Clarence had been eating dried fruits, thinking he was making a better choice. He'd given up soda, cakes, and cookies, but never touched his dried apricots and dates, because they came from fruit, because they were natural, because everyone told him they were good for energy. But when we tested his inflammation markers and A1C, it all made sense. All that dried fruit was acting like syrup in his bloodstream, causing insulin surges, joint inflammation, and early signs of nerve sensitivity. I'll never forget what he said to me that day. "Dr. John, I thought I was playing it smart, but I was playing with fire." So here's what we did. Cut dried fruit down to no more than 2 to 3 pieces, only after a protein-rich meal. Replace sweet snacks with low-glycemic fruits like fresh berries. Added a magnesium-rich trail mix with pumpkin seeds and walnuts instead. 1 month later, Clarence's A1C dropped a full point. His energy returned, and the pain in his knees? Gone, he said. "I finally feel like I'm aging in reverse." Dried fruit is powerful and dangerous. It's like nature's candy, and it should be treated that way. Just a few bites too many can undo all your hard work. Now, if dried fruit is the sneaky trap, the next one is a wolf in sheep's clothing. You see it in every breakfast ad. It looks healthy, but fruit juice could be the #1 enemy of your heart and liver after 50. 8. Fruit juice, especially orange and apple. The liquid sugar bomb you're probably drinking daily. Let me ask you something. Do you start your morning with a glass of orange juice or apple juice? It feels refreshing, natural, like a healthy boost. But here's a truth not many people realize. Fruit juice is often worse than soda when it comes to sugar content. When fruit is juiced, you lose almost all of its fiber. And without fiber, the sugar in juice floods your bloodstream much faster, causing blood sugar spikes, insulin resistance, fat storage, especially around the belly, increased risk of heart disease and fatty liver. Especially after 50, your metabolism is already slowing down, and this liquid sugar bomb makes it much harder to stay healthy. One patient of mine, George, 65, came in confused. He'd been diligent about his health, walking daily, watching his diet, yet his doctor warned him about rising triglycerides and blood sugar. When I asked about his habits, George admitted, "I drink a big glass of orange juice every morning because fruit is good for me, right?" That morning glass, it was packing as much sugar as a soda, and George was drinking it every single day. So here's what I told him. Swap juice for whole fruit. Eat an orange instead of drinking it. If you want juice, dilute it with water and limit to 4 ounces max. Choose freshly squeezed over store-bought, but only occasionally. And always pair juice with protein or healthy fats to slow sugar absorption. George took the advice seriously. Within a month, his energy improved, and his blood work started to look better. He said, "I didn't realize how sneaky juice was. Now I feel in control again." And finally, the last fruit on our list might surprise you. Because watermelon, so refreshing and hydrating, can actually cause some serious trouble if you eat too much after 50. 9. Watermelon, large amounts. The refreshing fruit that could be overloading your body. Watermelon. Who doesn't love it on a hot summer day? It's juicy, sweet, and feels like the ultimate thirst quencher. But here's a little-known secret. Eating too much watermelon, especially if you're over 50, can cause unexpected health issues you wouldn't guess. What if I told you that watermelon, despite being mostly water, can actually lead to blood sugar spikes, digestive upset, and even heart rhythm problems when consumed in large quantities? And many seniors don't realize this until it's too late. Watermelon is high in natural sugars and potassium. When eaten in large amounts, it can cause sudden blood sugar surges, overload of potassium, which may affect heart function in sensitive individuals, digestive issues like bloating and diarrhea. Take Bob, a 70-year-old retired teacher. He loved snacking on watermelon every afternoon, but he started feeling heart palpitations, lightheadedness, uncomfortable bloating. At first, Bob thought it was his age or medication, but when we reviewed his diet, watermelon stood out. So here's what I recommended. Limit watermelon to 1 to 2 cups per day. Avoid eating large amounts all at once. Pair watermelon with a source of protein or healthy fat to slow sugar absorption. And if you have kidney or heart issues, talk to your doctor about your potassium intake. We've covered a lot today, from bananas to watermelon. If you've learned something new, please subscribe and comment below. Tell me which fruit surprised you the most and what changes you're ready to make for your health. Conclusion. Now, I know this might feel like a lot to take in. Changing the way you eat fruits after 50 isn't about giving up the foods you love. It's about honoring your body's changing needs and making small, smart adjustments that bring big results. Remember Ruth, Harold, Linda, and all the wonderful people I've had the privilege to guide? They found their energy, clarity, and joy back by simply learning to listen to their bodies and make wise fruit choices. And you can too. If this video helped you, please subscribe, because I'm here to support you with more trusted health tips designed just for seniors. And I'd love to hear from you. Which fruit surprised you the most? Or maybe you already made some changes and want to share your experience? Comment below. Your story might be the hope someone else needs today. Thank you for trusting me with your time and health. Here's to your brightest, healthiest years ahead.